This club also, in 1990, gave birth to what became the Mountains to Sound Greenway Trust, and the whole larger, broader effort of the Mountains to Sound Greenway. This club led a march back in 1990 from Snoqualmie Pass to Seattle's waterfront. Gary Locke participated in that march at that time, and that converted him into a believer. And in doing that, again, it was to draw attention to this landscape, saying that if we don't act now, before this tidal wave of humanity comes to live here, it will be too late. And we'll lose this connected landscape of forests, wildlife habitat, trails, and a clean environment that makes the Northwest unique. So, after 10 years, this club led that march, and it damn near broke the club. We were in serious debt, about to close the doors, but it spawned this new effort, and now 30 years later, this effort had a major accomplishment among many others over 30 years in becoming what's called a National Heritage Area. And I'm going to let our Executive Director of the Mountains to Sound Greenway, Jon Hoekstra, tell you more about that. Jon.
Thank you all for inviting me to be here tonight. And on kind of the moment of we're coming up on 30 years of the Mountains to Sound Greenway. We're a year in as a National Heritage Area. I'd like to say thank you to Issaquah Alps Trail Clubs for starting something extraordinary. I didn't know it almost put you all into the ground and in debt. I knew it made a lot of people tired. And it was a big adventure. And we're going to relive that adventure this summer. If you haven't seen it yet, we've got cool retro postcards, July 11 to 19. We're going to travel all the way from Roslyn to Seattle. We're going to not just hike, we're going to bike and float as well. But I want to say thank you, because you all are part of an organization that 30 years ago had an idea, had a belief in something, and started something that's grown. And the National Heritage Area designation, to me, marks, it's partly a conclusion, but it's mostly a beginning of a brand new chapter, where this landscape went from being an idea, and I'd say 30 years ago it wasn't even a landscape that was an idea, it was more that corridor, that there was a lot of attention put on how do we make sure we have a trail and kind of the land surrounding it in a fuzzy sort of way. Now we have these boundaries. We encompass 1.5 million acres around 3 watersheds. We include 28 communities, among which are the fastest growing metropolitan area in the entire United States. We have federally designated wilderness. We have state designated wilderness. We have endangered wolf. We have endangered wolf pack on one side. We've got endangered Chinook salmon and orca on the other side. This place is extraordinary. And when it was designated a National Heritage Area, that was a stamp from the U.S. Congress that said, this is not a place that we love because we know it's special. This is a place that is nationally significant. From the Park Service's perspective, the Park Service administers the National Heritage Area program. That's what's important to them. We have a nationally significant story to share with the rest of the United States, and it's now our privilege to get to tell and share that story. And so again, I'm grateful to Issaquah Alps Trail Club for starting something extraordinary, and I look forward to we all work together on how do we make this come to life. I'll just say another thing about this map that I should point out. Ken talked about all the land conservation. A lot of really critical conservation work in the Issaquah Alps started well before the Mountains to Sound Greenway, but the dark green patches on this map is land that was converted, moved to public ownership or private conservation ownership just since 1990. And so it's well north of 200,000 acres. It's pushing towards 300,000. It includes the Snoqualmie Forest, which isn't in dark green. That's 90,000 acres of land that would have been converted to housing and probably like a Interstate 605 kind of ring road. It includes a lot of the Middle Fork and Mount Si Natural Resource Conservation Areas, Raging River, the Chandaway Community Forest, the big checkerboard project. It's truly epic and historic how much has been done. Again, starting with that early vision, that early belief that people could stand up, connect with politicians, connect with decision makers, connect with influential people in the press and make things happen. there's so many layers of history here, including all that checkerboard. If you haven't heard Charlie Raines give his talk about the checkerboard project yet, you should invite him to one of your meetings and have him do that. 150 years ago, this land was chopped up into 1 mile squares by Abraham Lincoln to fund the building of the transcontinental railroads, and today that checkerboard has all been reassembled into public ownership. It's still a checkerboard of Forest Service and DNR. There's some management challenges, but this landscape's being put back together in a way that's preserving the full depth of natural and human history and heritage here. So we look forward to working with you on it. Stay tuned. It's a whole new chapter now as we become a national heritage area. I look forward to working with you.